Are you seeking fulfillment for your life? Do you want freedom from fear? That's why we're here. Welcome to Jesus 101, introducing you to the real Jesus. And now, here's your host, Elizabeth Talbot.
Welcome to Jesus 101. We are so glad that you have joined us for our ongoing series, The Battle is the Lord's. We're going through several battles in the Bible, learning a lot about the principles of God's kingdom and how He tells us, the battle is mine. You should, trust me in this. And today we are going to discuss a battle that I really like. It's called the battle of perspective. Perspective is our interpretation of reality. And God says, I have a different viewpoint than you do. And just trust me, even when you can't fully understand my viewpoint. And to help us with this battle, we have again, Pastor Massiel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm excited about this one because it continues this trend of God's you couldn't have expected it. You couldn't have planned it.
Surprise.
In your wildest dreams, this is how they win this battle.
That's right. And we have been talking throughout this whole series that the way that God's people did battle in the Bible is actually a metaphor of salvation. God is constantly trying to tell them, look, I'm in charge. The battle is mine.
Yes.
Just trust me with this.
Yes.
And so what we have been doing is looking at the battles in our minds and in our hearts until we surrender to God, right? The battle of, strength. Do I have enough strength? The impossibilities, the comparison, the exhaustion.
That one really spoke to my heart.
Yeah. So we actually have to surrender our battles to God because overall, He says, I'm in charge. I'm sitting on the throne. I haven't taken a vacation.
That's
this
right.
is my battle.
I'm here. And one thing that we keep saying, but it bears repeating, is that battle is an appropriate metaphor for our daily life. You've said, of course, our salvation, but our daily lives, because that's how it feels sometimes that we are in a grind. The odds feel bigger and much harder than we can sustain.
Yeah, and it's important to highlight that the battle is the Lord's for our salvation.
Yes.
Because that's how we get assurance from the cross. And the same principle applies to our daily battles.
Yes.
So the same way we do salvation, which is the battle is the Lord's, we do our daily battles. They continue to be the Lord's. Yeah, daily battles.
Write it in your Bible, underline it. That is important.
Yeah, because that was an aha moment for you, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Because everything feels like a battle sometimes.
Yes, and to say, the way salvation is done is the same way that daily battles are done. The battle is the Lord's,
and,
right?
This morning it could be battle of perception. At night it could be battle of exhaustion.
Yeah, exactly.
Switch.
Exactly.
Fighting on many sides.
Exactly. And the reason why we're doing battle of perception is because we are we're going to be analyzing a story in 2 Kings chapter 6, where somebody's seeing a reality, but there's a whole different reality. And maybe you are there today. You're saying, I don't see a way out of this. Yeah. And, sometimes it can get scary. And God says, I know you don't see what I see, but trust my viewpoint.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's
you won't even believe what God can see.
That's right.
That's how different it is.
And so I want to introduce to you our drawing for this battle. This is the drawing of Prophet Elisha with his servant. And they will be surrounded by an army. And the servant is going to go, what is going on? How are we going to get out of this? And Elisha says, look, there's a different perspective to what you're seeing. Yes. So that's what we're going to study today.
I feel like that assistant, sometimes a servant.
That's right. What are we going to do? Yeah, and it's kind of funny, actually. Yeah. So let's go to 2 Kings chapter 6. And Elisha is the prophet who came after Elijah, right? Elijah was the great prophet that we all know about, but he had as an assistant, and it was Elisha. And when Elijah, one of the few people taken to heaven without tasting death, was taken to heaven, Elisha was there present. And what did Elijah do? Do you remember what he gave him? something that fell
yes.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, his mantle. He put his
Yes.
mantle on him like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm done. It's up
Yes,
to you
it's
now.
up to you
Yeah, it's
now.
like a pastor handing you their pulpit or their
Yeah.
Bible. Like,
Yeah. He says,
now
now
you
it's up to you. I'm
continue.
going to heaven. So,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because I had the incredible privilege of going to the place where it is believed that this happened.
Really?
Yeah. Because
Wow.
they crossed the Jordan River together, Elisha and Elijah, and there's a little spot where you cross the Jordan. On the other side is these hills that it is believed that that's where the chariot came to pick up Elijah. And we were with an archaeologist, and he says, by the way, it is believed that that's where Elijah went to heaven. I was like, oh, and so, yeah. And Elisha came back, and the mantle of Elijah, he put it on the water and said, okay, is God with me as he was with him?
Yes.
And the Jordan parted, and he crossed. And so Elisha is a prophet that has done a lot of miracles when we get to 2 Kings chapter 6. As a matter of fact, he does another miracle at the beginning of the chapter.
And we see actually him doing many more miracles.
Yes,
than
he's
Elijah
one of the
did.
prophets that does the most miracles.
Wow.
Yeah, and I love his name. His name is Elisha, which means that God saves. Is very similar to Joshua, which means Yahweh, the Lord saves, which is the same name in Greek as Jesus, the Lord saves.
Yes.
So the name is
saves.
pointing to God all the
Yes.
time. God saves, God saves, God saves. And so when we get to verse 8 of 2 Kings chapter 8, the king of Aram, which is some of your Bibles say Syria, because Syria is the Greek name for Aram, is making war against Israel. So let's read it, Massiel. Let's go to 2 Kings 8 and maybe 9.
Sure. Now the king of Aram was at war with Israel. After conferring with his officers, he said, I will set up my camp in such and such a place.
I like that. In such and such a place.
Trying to be discreet.
Yeah,
but this is what happens. The man of God sent word to the king of Israel, beware of passing that place of such and such.
Such and such.
Because the Arameans are going down there.
Yeah, so every time that the king of Aram said, okay, we're going to surprise them, Elisha would go to the king of Israel. Hey, they're coming, so go and get ready. And every time he had the king of Aram had a plan, Elisha already told
moving ahead of him.
Yeah. So one day he gets so frustrated and says, which one of our people is with the king of Israel? How come he always knows where I'm going?
Yes.
Right?
And the commanders, you can imagine, none of us,
None
Lord.
of us. No, there's no mole here. And so they go, no, there's another reason. Verse 12.
None of us, my Lord, the king, except they probably sounded in a panic. None of us,
No,
my Lord.
no.
And said one of the officers, but Elisha, the prophet who is in Israel, tells the king of Israel the very words you speak in your bedroom.
In your bedroom is a phrase that was used for super secrecy. So he says, like, even the things that you do in your bedroom that nobody else sees, the prophet knows because he's a prophet and he tells, he's like a fly on your wall.
Yes.
Anything that you go, he already knows.
Yes.
And he tells the king of Israel, that's why you never surprise them, right? And the paradox for me is what happens next. What happens next is that the king says, okay, fine, go and let's take him. And they go, behold, he's in Dothan. And I'm going, didn't he just hear that he always knows when he's coming? He's like, let's surprise him. Let's go get him. He was just told that you cannot surprise him.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dothan is approximately 16 kilometers north of Samaria. Dothan is the place where Joseph was sold into slavery.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Genesis.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are in this area here, and he sent horses. Let's read verse 14.
Then he sent horses and chariots and a strong force there. They went by night and surrounded the city. Super secrecy.
Yeah.
They'll never know.
We're going to surround the city, and nobody's going to know. Well, it's interesting because first of all, it's a paradoxical thing with a prophetic gift, right? If he really has a prophetic gift, he will know you're coming, right? Which already he has proven that.
Yeah.
But something's going to happen next, which I absolutely love. And before we go there, have you ever felt in your life that you're going through a battle and God says, look, you got to put spiritual glasses on because what you're seeing is not the whole reality. There's another view. Have you ever felt that way?
I have. Sometimes I get overwhelmed, but God's like, let me show you what you can't see. And he brings encouragement through people or somebody else saying, listen.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
right.
you did that for me at one point
Oh,
in
yeah?
my life. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes God will not reveal the
Mm-hmm.
other reality, but He's asking us, okay, put the spiritual glasses on, and even if you don't see what I see,
Yeah.
do you remember those? What did they call them? Stenograms or something that you used to look into, and the 3D.
Oh, the
thing.
3D art.
Yeah, yeah. It's a strange. I
You have-
actually wrote it. Stereogram.
Oh.
This is when they do all kinds of things, and then when you focus and cross your eyes and all whatever, all of a sudden you see this other thing that
Yeah.
was there. This was in the 90s or 80s or something, and I used to have a huge picture, and everybody's saying, like, do you see how beautiful the eagle? And I was like, where is that? And they were like, you got to cross your eyes, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden this thing is going to
Hop on one foot.
and
you'll
then
see
one
it.
day I saw it.
Oh.
And it was breathtaking. It's like I had entered
Wow.
this other dimension. I was seeing something new. Well, I always imagine the spiritual life like this. You know, you're feeling alone, and the truth is, there's all these angelic beings next to you right now, Massiel. You have an angel next to you. And we don't see them, but we know they're there, and that reality trumps what we see.
That's right.
And
That's right.
isn't it amazing to remember
And
that?
to remind you that in the battle, you are not alone.
Yeah.
You are not. It's the Lord's battle,
It's
but
the Lord's.
He is constantly sending your support.
That's
to
right.
be with you.
And we're going to go there right
Yeah.
now. So let's go. So we're going to offer you a pair of glasses, because whatever battle you're in is not exactly what you're seeing. There's something else behind the scenes. So we're going to go there right now. And so they surround Elisha. And let's take it, verse 14.
Sure. So then he sent the horses and chariots and a strong force there. They went by night and surrounded the city. Verse 15, when the servant of the man of God got up and went out early the next morning, an army with horses and chariots surrounded the city. Oh, my Lord, what shall we do? The servant asked.
My Bible says, alas. And I think it's so funny because for us, it means nothing. It's like, whoa, my master, what shall we do? He wakes up in the morning. He sees that they're surrounded by an army. And they're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Who's going to save us? You know, we don't know what to do. And we are not, we don't even have a sword here, because that's the prophet Elisha and I'm the servant. So.
There's just the two of us.
Yeah.
We were saying that Gideon's numbers look good compared to these two.
Yes, we're just two, and we are surrounded.
Surrounded.
But for some strange reason, Elisha says, don't fear. Do not fear.
I can feel the servant's fear and anxiety.
What do you mean, don't
What
fear?
do you mean, like, sir, I hate to trouble you. Wake up. And he says, so
don't fear.
Don't be afraid.
He says, why?
Don't be afraid, the prophet answered. Those who are with us. Whew, it's delicious.
Okay, go.
Those who are with us are more than those who are with them.
Yeah, those who are with us are more than those who are with them. First of all, he says, do not fear. You know, I love this because somebody decided to count how many times God says in the Bible, fear not, do not fear. And somebody counted 365 times.
That's just enough.
For once a day,
Once
for
a
a
day.
whole year, do not fear not, do not fear not. Usually it says, because I am with you.
Because I am with you.
So there's another reality. This is what you see, but put your glasses on, there's a second reality that, and then he says, those who are with us are more than those who are with them. And I can imagine the servant going, okay, let's go back to Math 101. 1, 2, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2.
He looks
and
around,
look
maybe.
at them.
Yeah.
What do you mean those who are with us are more than those who are with them? I'm counting 1 and 2 and 1 and 2
and army and horses and chariots. Not just like
not just people.
Yeah.
And Elisha is like, oh, my servant, you don't see the realities of God. And so we're going to stop now and listen to Elisha.
Oh, my dear servant, you don't know what I know. That's why you're so anxious. I have seen God work. I know His power. I know His strength. He filled the poor widow's vessels with oil until she ran out of jars. He raised the Shunammite woman's son from the dead. He multiplied 20 loaves of barley so that 100 grown men could eat. He healed Naaman from leprosy by having him dip in the Jordan 7 times. He made the axe float on top of the water. He is not going to leave us now. No way. God is protecting us. The unseen realities of God are more real than what these mortal eyes can see. I have seen so many works of God, and I no longer need to see with my own eyes. I believe with the eyes of my heart. I know you're worried because the army in front of us looks formidable. But the surrounding mountains are filled with heaven's horses and chariots standing by to defend us. God is always with us, and his angels are always surrounding us, even if you can't see them. And faith, well, faith is the assurance of that which we cannot see. Oh, how I wish, my servant, that you could see how God is working behind the scenes. I know you're terrified because of the vast army that has come against us. I know it makes no sense what I've said to you, that those who are with us are more than those who are against us. You think there were only 2 of us, but there were thousands on our side. Oh, great Yahweh of the armies of heaven, please open my servant's eyes so that he may see your reality. If for a moment, show him heaven's viewpoint. Please open his eyes and help him to change his perspective from this day forward, choosing faith over anxiety because you are a faithful God.
I love the fact that Elisha doesn't need to see the unseen. He's so sure of it.
Yes.
That he's like, okay, I know what's happening behind the scenes. But of course, the servant is the one going, oh,
Yes.
alas.
It's amazing that he's able, so sure, like you said, he doesn't need to see. He's so sure that he can be the one to pass on this comfort. Do not be afraid.
Yeah, exactly. I always pray that eventually I will be so in tune with the unseen realities that when something happens that I am like, immediately I will say, okay, no, I there's another reality, and I will go there, because the unseen realities of God have to trump the ones that I do see.
The unseen realities are more real than
the
what we
ones
see.
Exactly. Woo. Well, preach it, sister.
I will try.
Yeah, there you go. So then, because the servant is like, really? Where are all these people you're talking about? Then Elisha prays that for a momentary bridge to unseen realities for his servant. And says, please, God, open his other eyes, the spiritual eyes. So let's read it, verse 17.
And Elisha prayed, O Lord, open his eyes so he may see. Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked, and do you want me to finish it?
Yes.
And he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha.
There was this other much bigger army, the army of the Lord, that was all around the other army. So, you know, I've been telling this story for many, many years when we didn't have all the technology and all the computers and all of that we have today. And so before we go back to our beautiful drawing, I want to show you what I always used as a prop, which I think is really cool. You know, when you have here the prophet, let's put it, there you go. The prophet Elisha here, I made him a red robe.
Yes, it's a prophetic robe.
And this is the servant. And he says, there's more with us than the ones that are with them. And all the servant can see is this whole army surrounding them. And he's like, we are too. What are you talking about? But Elisha is so aware that there's another reality. And of course, there is. And I love it. I love it. This is the way I always used to teach it. See? Ta-da! There is a whole army of angels that is surrounding them. Of course, he's not going to be nervous because he knows this is there, even though he cannot, see it. And when the servant's eyes are open and they see this other reality, all these angels, and it's the armies of the Lord. They're not just chariots, they're chariots of fire.
Which Elisha has seen before. He's seen one.
Yeah, that came for
Yeah,
Elijah.
yeah.
And so Elisha's like, we got this because God is
Yes,
with us and the whole
yes.
army. And, I love the fact that we can live knowing this reality exists, even though we
Yes.
cannot see it.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Oh, I love this
I
prop.
think
I
our
used to use this for
problems,
years.
it's very good. The
Yeah.
artistry is, I don't know who helped you, but it's good work.
Well, talking about artistry, I want to go back to our drawing for this program. You see here the prophet Elijah and the servant, and of course the army surrounding them. And then you see all the chariots of the angels in the mountains.
Mhm.
And of course, who's going to be afraid that way?
Nobody.
But Maciel, that we all have that
Oh my goodness.
army surrounding us.
We do.
The
We do.
angels ones.
Yes. Both sometimes,
Yes.
but certainly. And you're right. I feel it convicted of it more and more as we
Yeah.
discuss these battles, that
Yes.
the battles I'm seeing
Yes.
are not the ones I'm fighting.
Yeah, yes.
And the resources that I need, I can't see, but they are there.
Well,
They are
God
there.
is the one that has sent
Yeah.
everything that I need. This is why we have called this the battle of perception, because what we see is not the greater reality, it's the
Yeah.
one we believe in.
Mhm.
That's the greater reality.
Amazing.
And so what happened was that, and I got to tell you something. There is a beautiful psalm that I used to repeat since I'm a little girl. The angel of the Lord encamps. Do you remember that?
Yes, yes.
It's Psalm 34:7. It's a beautiful psalm. And the reason why I remember is because one time we were in trouble. Go ahead and read.
Yeah, Psalm 34:7. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. So
Yeah.
he's present and delivers them.
Yeah, he encamps around those who fear him. And one time my mom and I got the wrong bus, took the wrong bus. In Buenos Aires, we used to use buses.
Mhm.
And it was dark, and it was the right number, but it was going opposite way, which sometimes the buses did that. And we realized we're getting farther from home. We get off, and we're in a dark place, a bad place, and it's night, and I can't imagine what she went through having a little girl with her. And she's like, okay, let's walk. And we're in an industrial area. There's no houses, nobody we can ask for help. We don't even know where we are. And it was a bad time in Argentina, political upheaval, and it was dangerous. Nobody came out of their house. And my mom and I were walking all those dark streets, repeating this verse
Wow.
out loud.
You were little, hey?
Yeah.
I can imagine your little face.
Yeah. Well, but for me, the fact that my mom was with me, that's all I needed. But if she
Yes.
said, let's repeat it, I repeated it. But I'm sure it was more for her as an adult. It's like,
Yes.
okay, the angel is with us and
Yes.
is encamping around us. And yeah, she found a way home. In my heart, I knew that being that my mom was with me, that's all I needed because I was going to get
Okay.
home.
Yeah.
And now as an adult, I remember that time and I'm going, the angel of the Lord is with me.
Yes.
And the battle is the Lord's. And I need to be aware of that reality above the other realities that I face.
Mhm.
Okay, so when Elisha makes another prayer, verse 18. Do you want to read it first?
Yes. As the enemy came down toward him, Elisha prayed the Lord, strike these people with blindness. So he struck them with blindness as Elijah had asked. So opposite prayer here.
Yes.
Yeah.
First, open their spiritual eyes.
Yeah.
Now, strike them with blindness. And so this whole army that is surrounding them now is blind. And so he leads them into Samaria, which is, the capital of the northern kingdom.
And this is where it's so unusual because he says, this is not the road. This is not the city. So they have to trust him.
This is not the people you're looking for.
Yes, these are not the people you're looking for.
Yeah. And so verse 20, when they had come into Samaria, Elisha said, oh Lord, open the eyes to these men. So first,
Sorry.
open the servant's eyes, close the soldier's eyes, open the soldier's eyes, and then they go, wow, we're in Samaria. We're in the middle of the capital of our enemy. Yeah.
And you figure they had to walk, you said 16 kilometers?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At some point, somebody had to have asked, where are we going?
Yeah, where are we going? So the Lord opened their eyes, their
Yes.
soldiers' eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of
Inside
Samaria. And the king of Israel, who's been watching all of this, he goes, okay.
The enemy comes right into his backyard.
And he goes, shall I kill them? Shall I kill them? And the prophet goes, no, this is the Lord who has done this.
Yes.
Why should you kill them there?
Yes.
And we're going to give them a great feast and send them home, and they will never forget this.
the battle that wasn't a battle.
That's right.
It was a big feast.
That's right.
I like that kind of battle.
Yeah, and they went home, and he says that for many years they didn't bother them anymore. Of course, if they're going to do a great feast, of course, they're not going to.
Nice feelings for your enemy.
Exactly. Well, as you know, we have always been making the connection with salvation, because a lot of people say, I am not seeing that I'm worthy of salvation. I don't have enough fruits. That I'm doing good things, and I have sins in my life. And God says, look, put your glasses on. There is a second reality.
Yes.
That's why salvation is by faith and not by sight.
You make the point also that it isn't even the perception of the world around us. It's how we see ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
We see ourselves with that diminishing, that smallness,
with that perception.
Sin, which is true, but God doesn't see us that way.
No, God doesn't see us that way. God says, trust my viewpoint. There's a second reality, and it's the fact that Christ has died at the cross for you, and you are assured of your salvation because of what he has done, not because you are like so perfect to be saved. And this has been such a big paradigm shift for me, where God says, look, put your glasses on. Yes, like the great reformist said, when I look at myself, I don't know how I could ever be saved. But when I look at Jesus, I don't know how I could ever be lost. That's a second reality, and so God is constantly offering us the pair of glasses, saying, look at the other reality. You can be sure of your salvation, not because of what you look like, but because of the second reality.
Yes.
And that has helped me face other battles. You have a relative that is sick, or there's a whole situation that you're going through, or some people want to have kids and they can't, or there's addictions to be victorious over, and you're like, I'm never going to make it. And God says, put your glasses on. There's a whole different reality. Surrender to my viewpoint. That's why we walk by faith and not by sight.
And even people who didn't have faith, their blindness leads them to a safe place, to a place where they can have sometimes we need to see, and sometimes we need to be blind, but
that's exactly the truth. And somebody one time gave me a nice shoe, like a really
that's a good shoe.
And inside it says, we walk by faith. We don't walk by sight. The next step you make is going to be by faith, not by what you see, but what you believe in. So that's why I have to finish at the cross.
Yes.
So I'm going to go there. Okay. Thanks for being with us,
Thank you.
Massiel. And the book of Hebrews tells us that when we have faith, when we're walking by faith, faith is actually the certainty of things you don't see. Not only that you believe in things that you can't see, but that you're certain. It's the assurance of things hoped for, says Hebrews 11:1. Assurance of things you hope for, and the certainty of things you don't see. So remember, we walk by faith. And this is the way you are going to know that you're saved. That's where the assurance of salvation comes from. It doesn't come from what you see or what you see in yourself. It comes from believing that Jesus Christ has done for you what was needed. So remember, we walk by faith, not by sight. That's the battle of perception. Surrender your perception to God's viewpoint, because the battle is His.